So one of the questions that I get asked quite a lot by vegan business owners and entrepreneurs and authors and creatives is, what should I include on the About page of my website? So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this today. I want to just begin though by saying that everybody's About page is going to be different depending on you and your business, the type of business, whether you're a solo practitioner or you're a larger company, whether you sell products or services, and it's really going to be dependent upon you and your business. So I don't think there's any necessarily like a template way that you can create an About page, because it does need to be somewhat individual, but I am going to give you some ideas about what to include and how to structure it. Now, the reason your About page is so important is that it's actually one of the most visited pages on websites. There's been some anecdotal research done, and it's been found that people will often click onto your About page anything from the second, third or fourth page as they're going through your website. So it is an important page on your site. And I think one of the reasons that is that nowadays people want to know who they're doing business with, probably a lot more than they used to in the past. People want to know a lot more about a business and about a company. And if you think about it, it's true for us as consumers. So even though if you're listening to this, you are a vegan business owner, but you're also a consumer. We're all consumers. So some of the questions that your customers or your clients may be asking when they get to your About page is, well, how big is the business? You know, are you a larger kind of SME type business, or are you a much smaller? Who owns or runs the business? How long has the person or company been in business? Where is it based, and does it service my location? And why should I buy from this particular business? So those are just a few of the questions that your customers or clients may be asking, and you may well be asking that when you go to a business and you're looking to buy from them. It's really important not to hide behind your company. I see this quite a lot with vegan entrepreneurs, and you just can't get away with that nowadays, because in the past, this was a thing that big, large multinational corporations in particular would do. You know, the CEOs would be very much behind the scenes, whereas nowadays, if you look at a lot of big companies, the CEO has got their own blog, and they're much more prominent, and people want to know who they are, you know, who's running this, who's behind it. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and let us know who you are. One of the key things you want to do with your About page is to inspire trust and connection with your audience. And the way you do that is to let people know about you, who you are and what you do. They have to get to know you. It's a bit like meeting people in real life. You get to know somebody, and the more you get to know them, you start to like them and trust them. That's the kind of relationship that you're wanting to build up with your About page. It's the online version of doing that. Now, having said that, your About page shouldn't necessarily be all about you. So what do I mean by that? So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, but I'm going to start with my own example of vegan business media. So if you go to the About page of my website, veganbusinessmedia.com, you'll see that I kick it off with a question. Are you a vegan business owner or plant-based entrepreneur and feeling overwhelmed with trying to raise the profile of yourself or your brand? I understand. It can be challenging finding the time to promote your business while doing the actual running of it. What with all the changing technology and shiny new platforms, it can be hard to figure out what to focus on and when in terms of PR and marketing. Work with me and I'll help you to create a PR and marketing strategy designed to bring you more leads and sales. Whether your business is product-based or you're a professional who offers services, together we'll catapult your brand into the limelight. So seeing those few paragraphs there on the website, I haven't talked about myself. The only thing I've said is work with me. I understand, and if you work with me and I'll help you to do this, to create a PR and marketing strategy. But basically, I've made the first few paragraphs of my About page about my audience, about you. So try and think how that you can do that on your own about page. I then go on to say, I started Vegan Business Media in 2015 when I launched my book, Vegan Ventures, Start and Grow an Ethical Business, with the aim of equipping aspiring and existing owners of vegan-run businesses with the information, tools, inspiration and resources you need to start and grow your enterprises. So see there, I'm answering the question, how long has this business been going? Okay. With a background as a journalist of 18 years, writing for a range of both specialist and mainstream media in the UK, US and Australia, I put those skills into action by providing a range of content and services to help you promote your vegan brand more effectively. So see here, I'm giving you a bit more of information about myself. I'm bringing in some social proof and credibility, and that I've been a journalist for 18 years. And this is how I'm using my skills now to help vegan brands to promote themselves. I have something to suit all budgets, including my online PR course and group coaching program, consultancy and speaking. And there are hot links to each of those to the other pages on my website. And then I say, and I walk my talk. I've been vegan for 22 years and have spent the past few years building my own brand as a PR and marketing consultant in this niche. So see there, I'm answering that question, well, what's unique about me? Why should people buy from me? So I'm letting them know that I've been vegan for 22 years, so I'm not someone who's just kind of entered the space. And I've actually spent the past few years doing the very thing that I'm helping you to do as well. During that time, I've been featured as an expert in several media outlets, been invited to speak at local and international conferences and events, and wrote for Forbes for a year about vegan and plant-based business. So again, there I'm just weaving in some social proof and credibility, which also helps to get people to realise, well, maybe that, if she can do that for herself, maybe she can help me to do that. So again, it's all about the credibility and social proof there. And then I say, originally from London, UK, and now based in Sydney, Australia, I work with vegan entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, consultants, personalities, creatives, and brands from across the globe. So remember, as we said, one of the questions that people ask is, where are you based and who do you service? So I've made it very clear there that I'm originally from the UK. I say that because sometimes I get on a call with someone and they're expecting me to sound all Aussie and Australian and they hear this British accent. So I've just put that in there to say I'm originally from London, UK, now based in Sydney, Australia. So I'm letting people know I'm based in Sydney, Australia, but that I work with vegan entrepreneurs, authors, etc. from across the globe. So I'm making it very clear. Don't want someone to just land on the page and go, oh, she's based in Australia, therefore I'm in America, therefore she can't help me. I don't want that to happen, obviously, because a lot of my clients are from America or from the UK, as well as Australia and Europe as well. So making it very clear, answering those questions. Okay. Now then I've got a subheading saying, here's how I can help you for free. And then I've got a list of 5 ways that you can get free help from the site. So read the blog posts on the site, listen and subscribe to the podcast, Vegan Business Talk, watch my 60-minute video training, how to get free publicity for your vegan business, sign up to receive updates on marketing and PR and business tips from me by email, and download my guide, 55 Media Angles for Vegan Business Owners. So that's 5 ways that people can click through to get free help from the site. I've then got another subheading saying, here's how you can get more tailored help. And then I've got a list of 4 ways. So one is read my book, Vegan Ventures, join my online PR course and group coaching program, Vegans in the Limelight, book one-off or ongoing one-on-one personalised coaching or consultations with me. And then I say I offer done-for-you PR services to a select number of vegan and plant-based brands. Now, the reason I've got that way, I've got the section on how I can help for free and here's how to get more tailored help, is you don't know who's going to land on your website and who's going to be looking at your about page. So it could be that I've got people who are quite new, maybe they haven't started their vegan business yet and they just want to gather some resources. Here's how they can easily get some free help. But then other people are landing on, maybe they've heard a bit about me and they're actually ready and they're keen to find out how they can work with me, perhaps one-on-one, or perhaps they might want to inquire about some done-for-you PR services or join my online PR course and group coaching program. So it just gives people an option, no matter where they're at their particular stage of their journey, and potentially working with me, they've got all those different options. Okay. Now you can also link from your about page, you can also link to your LinkedIn profile. So this is probably more applicable to, say, if your main market is corporate, so you're working with corporates, and because the last thing you want on your about page is a resume. Okay, it's not your resume. People get bored with that. But if you're working with, say, corporates who might want to know what your work history is, then, and also having a LinkedIn profile looks professional, particularly for that audience, then you might say, for my full resume and work history, click on my LinkedIn profile, and then they can click and go and have a look at that. If you want to expand on your story, you can also have a My Story subheading, or How I Got Here, and talk a little bit more in depth about you and yourself and how you got there, how you got to running your business. What you can also do, though, is create a separate page for that and link to it from your about page. So you can say, for more about my story, click here, and then people can go on to a separate page to read a bit more about you. Because some people will just want to scan your about page, others will want to read all of it and go through and really get to know you. Now you can also link to your online media kit, which is what I do. So for example, if journalists are coming to my website, or if event bookers are coming to my site, maybe they want to ask me to speak somewhere, what I've got, they can maybe skimming through my about page. I have got a link to my online media kit in the main menu at the top of the page as well, which is something I recommend. But if a journalist or an event booker is on my about page, just as they're getting towards the end, I've got a link to say, for media or for event bookers, click here for my online media kit. And on that, then they will have my what I call official bios. So that's when it's in third person, like Katrina Fox is a PR consultant, vegan business consultant, and that's got my bios in third person form and in different lengths. But on your actual about page, and I'll talk about this a little bit later on, you want to be talking in more personalized language like I and we. Okay, so if you've got an online media kit, and I do recommend everyone has one, you can put a link to that from your about page. So I've just given you an example of my about page, but you might be thinking, well, that's all very well, but you're a service-based provider, and what if I just sell products? So I'm going to give you another example, and one of the examples I'd like to share with you is Parna Organic. Now, Parna is a chocolate brand. It's a vegan chocolate brand, organic, raw, and it's based out of Melbourne, Australia, but they're sold internationally. And you can go to their website to check that out. Their website is parna-organic.com. So this is how their about page starts. Chocolate that's smooth, rich and silky, and something a little unexpected. A hand-picked cacao pod from Bolivia, a coconut from the Philippines, cold-pressed cacao butter from Peru, Indonesian coconut nectar and Mexican dark agave, wild carob from Spain, organic cinnamon from Sri Lanka. Chocolate that's full of antioxidants, amino acids, vitamins and minerals. Chocolate without preservatives that's vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free and refined sugar-free. Chocolate for everyone. So see how they've created an image. They're telling us a story on their about page. They're really hooking us in, and I'd love to get your reactions, because I gave a talk on this topic recently to a group of vegan business owners in Sydney that I hosted. And when I read this out, people were going, ooh, ooh, and they were getting very excited and having a visceral reaction to the description. So that's another way that you can use your about page to tell your story, to hook people in. Then when you scroll down Parna's website, we've then got a subheading and a section called Our Story. And it begins with Parna Babunis founded Parna Organic in Melbourne, Australia, with the intention of creating a rich, luxurious chocolate the whole world could enjoy. So see how he's weaved in the fact, okay, it was founded in Melbourne, but it's available worldwide and the products are sold across the globe. Now, I happen to know Parna, who started it. He's been a guest on Vegan Business Talk. I've been on panels with him at various events. Lovely guy. But what I think is interesting, and I would love to actually see this on their About page, is he's got a really interesting story from when he first started the company. He made the first few deliveries of the chocolate himself on his motorbike, and in quite a short space of time he's become a multi-million-dollar company. With the last time I spoke with him, he had about 80 staff. I suspect he may have more than that by now. So he's had quite a shift or a transformation in the company, and I think that would be really quite nice to include that on there, maybe even a photo of him on the back of his motorbike with those first deliveries, just to help people to get to know you. So let's talk a little bit now about what to include on the About website, on your About website. So you want to be very clear. What does the business do? What do you provide? Do not be cryptic on your About page. And nothing worse than someone landing on a company's website and it's not clear what the business does. So don't try and be clever or cryptic. Everybody's time poor nowadays. We want to know what it is that you do. What's unique about you or your business? So remember, I answered that question on my own About page, the fact that I've been vegan for 22 years and I've been a journalist for 18 years. And with Parna, we saw what's unique about their business, these absolutely original and unique and unusual ingredients that they put in their chocolate, as well as it being raw, organic, and has lots of other free-froms as well. What benefits do customers or clients get, or what problem do you solve? How long you've been in business. Now, this is an interesting one because I often hear from new businesses and startups. They kind of say, oh, I don't want it to sound like I've only just started out or that I'm quite new. But what I'd say to that is don't shy away from that. For one thing, startups are perceived as quite cool. And what you can do there is just own it and say, hey, look, we're a new company. We've been going X amount of time. This is what we've got on offer at the moment. And these are our plans. There's no need to shy away from that. And also, from a media perspective, I think it's important to include this. So, for example, with my podcast, Vegan Business Talk, one of the criteria for guests is that they have to have been running their business for at least 3 years, ideally more, but at least 3 years, because I want them to be able to have been in business long enough to share really useful and important nuggets of wisdom and experiences and strategies. And I can't tell you, sometimes there's been quite a few times where I've seen a business or a company and I've thought, oh, they might be a good guest for the show. And I've gone onto their website and I cannot find how long they've been in business. I've checked on their social media and I can't find it. And sometimes I will just go, you know what, it's too much trouble. I'm going to go on to somebody else. So they've lost out on a potential media opportunity. So don't be afraid to let people know how long you've been in business, when the business started. And we touched on this earlier as well. So where you're based and who you service. So you remember that I did that on my About page. I let people know that I'm currently based in Sydney, Australia, but I work with people from across the globe. Okay. Why do you do it? So include this on your About page, a couple of sentences or a short paragraph, why you do what you do. Now, if you've got a longer mission statement or vision statement or a statement of purpose, what you can do again is put a link from the About page. So you can have a short paragraph about why you do what you do, and then say, to read our full mission statement or vision statement, whatever it is, click here. And then you can go on to a separate page for people who want to do that. For some people, they just want to skim your About page. Other people want to know everything there is to know about you, and it's just giving them the option to take a deeper dive into who you are and what you do by clicking through to your mission or vision statement. can also include your values. So again, you can do the same thing there. You might include a short paragraph of your values, or you might include on your about page your top 5 values. Or if you've got like a much longer document, for example, then again you can put click here to see our values, and you can go onto a separate page for that. So again, it's giving people the option to find out more about you without making your about page absolutely massive. Okay. And then for those of you who've been in business for quite some time, you might want to consider a history or timeline of the business. Now, what I mean by that is I don't mean charting every single year, but just take some of your key milestones. So if you've been in business for quite some time, then your business will have evolved over time. There'll be developments in it. So just take some of your key milestones. And again, you can do this by creating a separate page and then linking to it from your about page. So you can put for a full history and timeline of the business, click here. Okay, again, that's really only for people who've been in business for quite some time. If you've only been in business 2 or 3 years, it's not going to be worth it. But if you've been in business 10 or more years, then that can be useful for people to see the evolving of your journey and your business. About you. So remember earlier I said don't hide behind your business or your company. We want to know who you are, what's your story. We love stories. Human beings love stories, and we want to know what yours is. So if you've got a family business, for example, tell us who you are. Don't just say we're a family-owned business. Who are the members of the family that are involved in running it? What do they do? What are their particular tasks? Where are you from? So if you've emigrated from one country to another, tell us a bit about where you're from and why you emigrated, why you love working together. Okay, just tell us that story. We want to be entertained, and we're curious, and we want to know who you are so that we can get to know you. Again, like I mentioned earlier, so that we can feel trust and start to like you and know who you are. Did you leave a high-flying corporate career to start your own business? People love this kind of transformation type story. So recently I was pitched a vegan business to be a guest on the Vegan Business Talk podcast. And it was in a particular type of business that I already had a couple of other similar ones in the pipeline to do an interview with. But then I noticed in the pitch, it said that the person who runs this business actually left a high-flying career as a senior executive from a well-known finance company. And so that immediately grabbed my attention. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they left that to do this, because it was quite a big change. So if that's you, then make sure you include that on your about page. Again, it's helping us to get to know you as a business owner. Think about some anecdotes that you can include. So I just mentioned something like a bit of a transformation, so a big change in career, or if you're in perhaps health and fitness, if you suffered from a particular condition and then you've overcome it yourself and now you help people to do that, that may be relevant. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just giving you some ideas that you might want to include on your about page. It could be an interesting incident that happened. Maybe you met somebody famous, or perhaps some achievement that's quite monumental. Maybe you climbed Everest or something like that. Let people know that kind of thing. Again, it just kind of gives you a bit of colour, makes you a little bit more interesting as a business owner. Now, also on your about page, you can include testimonials. It's a good idea to include those. So on my about page, I've got a section, a subheading called what clients or what previous clients have said. And what I've done is just taken a handful of a small number of testimonials from the various other parts of my site and put them on the about page. This is particularly important if you offer more than one service or product, for example. So in my case, I've got testimonials relating specifically to my speaking. I've got testimonials related to my online PR course and group coaching program, Vegans in the Limelight. And I've got testimonials for my consultations. So I've got those on the relevant pages on my website, but what I've done is just taken a couple of each of those and put them on my about page. So again, it's about adding that social proof and credibility. And then you also want to include some kind of call to action on your about page. Your about page is not a passive site. You actually want, not a passive page. You actually want someone to take action while they're on there, particularly towards the end. So if you remember with my page, my about page, I've actually got several call to actions on mine because I've got here's how to work with me for free, and then there was 4 options, each with links, and here's how to get more tailored help, and again there were therefore 5 links there. But your call to action on your about page could be something quite simple, like sign up for my newsletter here, or sign up for my free item. So you might have a lead magnet, which is a free product, usually a digital product that you can set up to go out automatically every time someone opts into your email list. It could be book now to make an appointment. It could be click here to find out locations of where our products are sold. Do you see what I mean? So it's some kind of call to action. Make sure you include that on your about page. Now, in terms of the order and structure of your about page, now I mentioned earlier on in this talk that your about page is going to be different depending on the type of business you've got. Every about page is going to be different. But one thing I will say to you in terms of the order and structure is make sure you put your best and most relevant information for your audience first. Because when people land on your about page, some people will scroll the whole way through and read every word. Others are just going to very quickly scan, and others might not go beyond just the first part of your about page. So you want to make sure you've got your real good stuff at the beginning, and it has to be for what's most relevant for your audience. What you're doing here is you're doing, in journalism terms, there's a phrase called don't bury the lead, and that means don't bury the juicy part, the main story 3 paragraphs in. So if you look at news stories, they follow what's called an inverted pyramid structure. So the very best, the most important story goes in the headline, and then the intro, then the first paragraph, etc., and then it goes down in descending order of importance. So that's what you want to be doing on your about page. And again, that's going to be different for everyone. So for example, my partner Tracy, who's a clinical hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, she's also a naturopath and nutritionist, but on her clinical hypnotherapy, psychotherapy website, she's found out that whenever she gets clients that come to see her, she asks them 2 marketing questions. One, how did you find me? So, did they find her from Google, or did they see her speak somewhere? And the second question is, why did you choose me? So why did they pick her as a therapist? And the vast majority of them say her credentials, her experience, and her qualifications. Now, that's going to be different for me. Most people don't care about what my qualifications in journalism are, or what professional memberships or associations I have. Whereas for Tracy, for her clients, that's important. So she's got that quite high up on her about page. So just have a think about what the most relevant information for your audience is, and make sure that you lead with that. Make sure you write your about page, and every page for your website actually, but make sure you write your about page for your audience. So using language and style and words that your audience recognize. So for example, if your audience is predominantly male baby boomers, you're going to use very different language and style and words than if you're writing for millennial women. Now, I know some of you might say, well, we've got quite a broad audience. We service a lot of different people, ages and genders. Basically, keep your about page conversational and friendly. So just keep it really accessible in that case. And even if you're writing for, if your audience is corporate, yes, you're obviously going to want to use language and words that they recognize, but you're still writing it in a conversational way, so that you're actually addressing the person who's sitting in front of you. So I mentioned earlier I was going to talk about I, we, and you. So what I mean by that is, use I. If you're a solo practitioner, or there's just you, then say I do this, I am this. Or if you've got a small team, then you might say we do this, or we are this. And when you're talking to the person, make sure you use the word you. So what I mean by that is, you don't say, if you notice, remember from my about page, I don't say I help people, or I help vegan entrepreneurs do this. I say I help you to do this. Or we help you. And that's important because no matter who it is that's sitting at the other end of the computer, they've landed on your about page. Even if they're an HR director for a big corporation, it's still that one person that you've got that relationship with. and you want to be speaking directly to them. They want to feel special. We all want to feel special. We want to feel like someone is talking to us. So I liken this again to, say you've just met somebody and you've sat down over a dinner table, over a cup of tea, and they say, oh, so tell me about yourself then, Katrina. And if I then said, oh, Katrina Fox is a vegan PR consultant and journalist with 18 years experience, you'd think I was a bit bonkers. Like, why would you talk about yourself in the third person? And basically the about page is the equivalent of sitting down across a table having a cup of tea with someone. It's different to your official bios in your online media kit, that they are written in the third person. But for your about page, think of your about page. If you can conjure up a visual, you're sitting down opposite the table, opposite someone on a table, having a cup of tea and a vegan cake or whatever it is, and that's how you want the tone of your about page to come across. So it's friendly and conversational. Make sure you break up the text on your about page with subheads, so subheadings and visuals, so photos and videos. This is really important online. With print, it's different. So when I trained as a journalist, I was trained as a print journalist many years ago. We were used to seeing, larger paragraphs, larger chunks of text, basically black text. And our eye apparently, though, works differently. When we're reading in print and when we're reading online, it's different. So when we're online, we can't cope with a whole load of big chunks of text. And I'm sure some of you, if you're on social media, if you go to someone's post and then they leave a comment and it's a massive, great chunk of text with no paragraph breaks. Personally, I don't read them. I just can't. It's just too much. Excuse me. So what you want to do is make sure that you break up that text using subheadings and visuals such as photos or videos. So I'm going to give you an example, and this is Vegan Style. So Vegan Style is a vegan shoe store, an accessory store in Melbourne, Australia. You can check out their website so you can have a look at it yourself at veganstyle.com.au. But they open their about page with a picture. They've got an image of one wall with shelves showing lots of different styles of their vegan shoes. So you can see straight away, as soon as you go on their about page, you can see exactly what they're about and you immediately get a visual. They've then got a little bit of text. Vegan Style was born in Melbourne in 2010. See how they immediately say, great, how long has the company been running? So it's showing that they're an experienced company. There's a little bit of information about their company, and they've actually using bullet points here as well. So they'll say, inside our store you can find a large range of well-made high quality vegan shoes for men and women from ethical brands you'll love, including, and then they've got bullet points saying vegan dress shoes, vegan high heels, vegan boots, vegan sandals, vegan sneakers, and those are all hot links to their internal pages. So if someone lands on there and says, oh yeah, I want to look at the vegan boots, they can go off and look at those. We've then got a little bit more text about where they are, and then we've got another photo, two photos next to one another, a male shoe and a women's shoe. So we've got a nice lot of colour there and imagery. We've then got a subhead saying what makes a vegan shoe. Then we've got a couple of lines explaining what that is, and then we've got another little headline, want to take a look inside our store, ? And then there's a video. So you can actually press play on the video and it will give you a virtual video tour of the store. So that's much more user friendly and much more friendly on the eye with those subheads and those visuals. Okay, so make sure you do that on your about page. And finally, remember to update your about page. Your about page is not a static page. As your business grows and develops, then there's going to be changes. You'll maybe add new products or add new services. You might remove some products or services. In fact, when I was preparing this presentation, I actually had to update my own about page on veganbusinessmedia.com to tweak a few little things. So don't be afraid to do that, and make sure you can do that yourself. Or if you've got someone who is a dedicated staff member, or you've got someone on a retainer that you pay every month to do various things on your website, then fine, they can do it. But I actually recommend that you know how to do this yourself if you need to. You shouldn't be paying a web designer or developer if you just want minor text changes and then you're being charged for every single change. That's ridiculous. So make sure you know how to change a bit of text on your website, swap out how to photo if you need to, upload blog posts and content. I'm not super technical, I promise you, but I use WordPress. I can put my own blog posts up if I want to. I have got an assistant who helps me, but if I need to, or if I, like on my about page, I needed to make a few changes, I was able to just hop in and tweak those bits of text. I could swap out some photos. So just make sure you can do that, and remember to constantly revisit your about page and update it where necessary. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. Now, if you're thinking, well, actually, I could really do with some help with my about page, some tailored help, then I can help you out with that in a one-to-one consult, where I would look at your page before we get on the call, perhaps ask you some questions, and then when we get on the call, I will actually go through your about page with you and give you some suggestions and guidance of how you can improve it. Alternatively, if you join my Vegans in the Limelight online PR course and group coaching program, this is one of the things that we do on the monthly live group coaching calls. So we'll actually get on a call and I will talk you through it on the call of how you can improve your about page. And I do that with various other things. I might look at your LinkedIn profile or anything to do with raising your profile. That's the kind of thing that we do on the program. And you can find links to both Vegans in the Limelight online PR course and group coaching program, or my one-on-one consults by going to veganbusinessmedia.com.